Joining us now from Kyiv is the journalist John Sweeney, and from Salisbury, weapons expert Hamish de Bretton-Gordon. John Sweeney, when I went to bed last night, Kyiv was surrounded by Russian troops and the exits had been blocked. What is the situation this morning?
That was said by the mayor, who is a great bloke. You know, he's Klitschko, the boxer, but his spokesman said he misspoke, and there are still some roads open. So the siege isn't total. That said, obviously it's a little bit sketchy here. But on the other hand, I think that the war has not gone well for Putin. I think that he thought that his soldiers would, when they arrived in Ukraine, they'd be welcomed with flowers and parades. And instead, the Ukrainians, to a man, woman, and child, have given them a bloody nose thus far. There was a big attack on an airport, Antonov Airport, north of Kyiv, and there's videos being put up. It's very hard to verify this, but videos being put up of a whole kind of line of Russian heavy metal burnt to a cinder. Now, the problem, of course, is that Russia is the bully and Ukraine is the weakling. And at some point, the bully, you would have thought, is going to win. But an American general said this, and I hope I can get the phrase right. The question is not how big the dog in the fight is, but how much fight there is in the dog. And there's a lot of evidence that Russian soldiers are arriving in Ukraine, switching their phone on and going, oh my God, I'm in Ukraine. They didn't realize where they were going. Whereas the Ukrainians, they're fighting for their homes. So I'm putting my fiver on the weakling.
We spoke to two doctors just a few minutes ago who had slept in 3-hour shifts. There were constant explosions, sirens throughout the night, but they reported that when they woke up this morning, they discovered they had lost friends in eastern and northern Kyiv. Clearly, the attacks overnight in some areas have been brutal and deadly. What was it like for you overnight, John? Just give us an idea of the experience of sleeping in Kyiv at night.
So Kyiv's a big city, 3 million people. If Kyiv is London, I'm in Vauxhall, I'm in Lambeth, and what's happening is the fighting is taking place up in kind of like Tottenham Hale, and there's been battles in Croydon. But here in the centre, it's quiet. A couple of crumps every now and then. The Russians try and put a missile into the power station on the other side of the river, the Dnipro, and every time the Ukrainian air defences knock out the Russian missiles, so you hear these crumps every now and then. But the electricity is still on, the internet is still on. People are wandering around, so there is a kind of strange disconnect. What happens is you kind of wake up. I woke up at 5 o'clock. You know, you hit your phone. I try and tell myself, don't play with your phone, John, at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I do anyway. And then you see and you hear about the tank column coming this way, and you hear about the explosions, and you see the videos. And that's very scary. Then at the same time, it's very still. I mean, I am in, literally 20 minutes from the heart of town by walking, and you can hear there is, I'm near a window, there are no shells, no artillery. That's because they're not here yet. So the fascinating, grimly fascinating question is, will the Russian army vote with its feet? Will they mutiny? And there's some evidence that some of them have been doing that. Or will they carry on prosecuting Vladimir Putin's war? It's not a popular war in Russia. And the ruble is tanking. It's lost 40% of its value against the dollar. So the war is at a tipping point now. Will the bully prevail? Or will the 10-stone weakling carry on fighting as magnificently as the Ukrainians are?
John, stay with us. Let's speak to chemical weapons expert Hamish de Bretton Gordon. Now, Hamish, for all of us, there's words we would never wish to hear in our entire lifetime, and that is somebody, a world leader, a very prominent world leader, threatening a nuclear attack. I mean, he has, in the last 24 hours, Putin ordered that nuclear deterrent force be put in special regime of combat duty. That is scary words that none of us want to hear. You're an expert. How seriously should we be taking this morning?
Well, it's certainly scary words. I would agree that. However, the nuclear capabilities are always on high alert. And what Putin has said over the last 24 hours, this is pretty irrational, which is a slight concern. But I think he's really rattled, and John Sweeney is perceptive as always. And when you look at it from Putin's perspective, the UK and the European Union are working together. I'm sure he assumed that we wouldn't. I mean, crikey, we've been through Brexit and all that sort of stuff. And the rest of the world is coming together and really squeezing him. So I think he's getting into a really tight hole here. So trying to, be the bully boy tactics. And we must remember that Putin is ostensibly a spy. He is not a grand general and in a conventional war. And what he is having to command at the moment is a conventional war with lots of tanks and stuff, and he's not doing very well. They're running out of fuel. I mean, that is absolutely unforgivable. And I think one thing to consider as well, we're getting into the phase now of fighting in towns and cities. This is the most difficult fighting. I was in Aleppo many times over the last 10 years. It took the Russians and the Syrians over 4 years to take Aleppo, which is a town about the third the size of Kyiv. So I think he knows he's really getting into the challenging area of it. Things are not going well. The world is now squeezing into him. And for somebody like him, he could be looking to the end of his reign as the dictator of Russia. And I think he's feeling that very badly. The key thing for us is we must keep the pressure on and not get diverted by threats of a nuclear war, because as one of your previous speakers said, this is based on mutually assured destruction, and we in the free world will make absolutely sure that that doesn't happen.
OK, Hamish de Bretton-Gordon, thank you for your time this morning. John Sweeney, stay safe, please, in Kyiv, and we will bring you up to date with all the latest developments in Ukraine, of course, throughout the morning.